Hey everybody, this is James,
Marco, Nabil,
and Mikey.
and this is the Movie Pause podcast number 185. Today we have a special marathon episode of the Terrifier films.
It's spooky.
And if you guys can tell from our audio quality, we are actually here recording in person. So.
We're live from Waterfront Comics.
No, we're at my girlfriend's house.
In
Some
California.
might say the Waterfront Comics of Pinot.
Yeah.
So we haven't recorded in person in a while. It's weird because we can look at each other while we talk finally.
Yeah,
Not through like a screen, what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, we're going to be going through, it's a total of 4 movies. So let's start it out, guys. So before we do begin, guys, none of you guys saw these movies before, right?
No. Not a single one.
So this is all brand new. So there's no history with it all at all. So
I've heard of the movies, but I've never seen them.
They've gained some popularity in the last 2 years, I'd say, especially after the release of Terrifier 2. So,
Do you have familiarity with the movies?
yeah, I've seen them all before. I watched them when Terrifier 2 came out back in 22, about 2 years ago. I watched them all. So it's been about 2 years.
I remember that.
But yeah, I did watch them. What were your guys' expectations though leading into it? Were you guys looking forward to it? Were you 50-50?
I mean, I'll admit saying that I wasn't looking forward to it. As we go through the review, you'll see my changing opinion on it. But
Okay.
yeah, wasn't so sure about getting into this marathon.
Okay.
I was looking forward to it. Like I said, it's popped up, on social media,
Oh yeah.
just browsing, and it looked interesting.
Yeah, I'm into the genre, just in general. I just watch a lot of these kind of things anyways. I'm not sure why this kind of passed me up, but yeah, I was looking forward to it.
Mikey, you're in the fucking movie. What are you talking about?
I mean, it's got a shoestring budget. I'm not shocked. Especially the earlier ones. I don't really feel like these gained popularity until the second one came out. So let's jump it in. So our first movie, a review of All Hallows Eve.
Babysitting on Halloween night? That's just asking for trouble.
Yeah, tell me about it. It's already been quite an eventful evening. Some creep slipped a videotape into Timmy's candy bag while we were trick-or-treating.
A videotape?
You should see what's on it.
Hey, what are you doing?
I'm turning it off. It's too violent for the two of you.
Do you think that clown was real?
No, it's just make-believe. Demons, witches, monsters, that doesn't exist.
Please! The killer's out here is following me!
Who's following you?
He's a man. He's in a clown costume.
So this is released in 2013, October 29th on DVD. This is direct to DVD. And the description is, while babysitting 2 children on Halloween, a babysitter finds a VHS tape in one of their candy bags. The tape contains 3 horror stories linked by a killer clown. As the night progresses, strange things happen in the house. So, first off, I would say we're probably going to spoil at least all of them, except maybe Terrifier 3, I guess.
I mean, there's really not a lot to spoil in some of these.
It's a slasher, right? I don't think this is one of those things where it's too much out of the ordinary, I guess. Like no way, what the fuck,
Really, just the kills are the only thing we can spoil.
Yeah. But I mean, even that, we can be kind of vague. We won't go as too into it. I mean, unless we let you know, hey, we're going to spoil this a bit. But that's probably wouldn't be until 3, realistically. So, all the movies, by the way, are directed and written by Damien Leone. This movie, not a lot of people in this movie, by the way, truthfully. So it's Katie McGuire, Sarah, and then Art the Clown in this one is played by Mike Giannelli. He's played by a different actor in the subsequent films. So, let's start with you. Nabil, actually, start with you. What did you think about this film overall? What worked for it? What didn't work for you?
I think it was, it reminded me of the film that we used to watch, VHS. Remember those? With
Oh,
all the vignettes?
I mean,
not in the same
maybe a
quality.
little bit.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
that's a found
no,
footage
like,
movie.
But in like those vignettes, I didn't realize that's what we were getting into with this all Hallows.
Like it's like this is an anthology
really, yeah.
kind of movie. Yeah.
Just short films inside each one. And Art the Clown isn't prevalent as much in here, but there's some creepy bits. The actual A story with the babysitter was kind of intriguing, but it kind of just goes nowhere. So I thought it was fine. It's low budget, so.
Okay. What about you, Marco?
It reminded me a lot of that movie Creepshow because it was kind of like a horror anthology, and of course it's linked by different things. The Creepshow movie was linked by a comic, and this is linked more by Art the Clown. But that's kind of the vibe I was getting, especially with the low budget and the I guess the shitty practical effects that we got.
Yeah.
So and also the acting too. Like the acting especially reminded me of that because it was terrible.
I mean, I think the acting in Creepshow's leagues better than this movie.
Yeah.
To tell the truth. So, okay. Mikey?
Yeah, this one was just okay. And like the others were saying, the acting is really bad. Most of the film is kind of a mess, especially certain scenes, certain segments of the footage they're looking at. But I did like the overall vibe that it tries to get out of it. I liked some of the ideas they had of why this movie was made.
Do you think it's just that they didn't have the budget to do it?
I feel like that's going to be a big portion of it.
Because this was made. I don't. There's no direct budget on this one specifically, but I think it was made for like $20,000 or less, something like that. This is practically like a student film.
It feels like it.
Yeah.
But I like the ending
porno,
though.
Maybe.
The last 20, 30 minutes, it was decent.
Yeah.
I liked what they did there at the end.
We'll get into that too. I think this movie's terrible. Quite frankly.
Yeah.
It is.
It is shot really like cheaply. It has that vibe to it where like I can't get into it because it looks so shitty. Like it really takes me out of it because it looks like we could have literally shot this.
You
film.
said something spot on earlier, which is that it felt like a student film.
Yeah.
But it felt like a high school student film.
Yeah. No, this is like a college student film. Trust me on that.
He's seen a few of these.
Yeah, I've been to a few film festivals where I'm like, oh no, not good. But it still follows a plot. I think the wraparound, like Nabil said, is okay. It kind of leads to just like showing you like Damien Leone's like sick, twisted mind of like, hey, I don't care if you kill kids. Fuck it, And some of the stories were okay. One of them I think is fucking absolutely terrible. And I guarantee we all probably have the same one. But let's get into that. So the first story probably features Art the Clown. I mean, kind of a bit, right? It's really where he captures some chick waiting at a train station, and she wakes up, and it turns into like a nightmare where all these other girls have been kidnapped, and they're like, there's some fucking monster or some shit. And me, I was like, okay,
It was fucking weird.
it seemed. I will say this much. I like the fact that it gives you kind of like a nightmare vibe, like. It's one of those weird movies, or like if you have a weird nightmare, it almost follows through like that, of like how random it gets, and it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but you're scared. That's kind of how I saw it as.
That one reminded me of Creepshow the most.
Did it?
Because there is a story similar in that series where there's like a monster, and it's like kind of like it didn't look like the one from this one, but it just reminded me of that where like you just see snippets of it until the very end.
Yeah, and truthfully, when they reveal it, I didn't think it was that scary on this one. I was like, and it looks terrible.
Yeah.
So, what did you guys think of that first one overall, though? You guys jump in. So
I was thinking that it set the bar where we're looking at for this film, and like, okay, I see where we're going and what the quality of what we're watching is. But I think that, like you said, James, like it just doesn't really. I feel like the way it ended was really just kind of like abrupt. Like the crazy shit was happening, and then we're like, well,
that's
okay,
kind
gotta
of
turn it off.
That's kind of all of them, though,
And
right?
I was like, why? Can we just finish this out at least? And then
I was like, I need to know what's her background.
right, a little bit.
Who is she? Why is she at the train? Why is Art the Clown here?
Just there. Yeah.
Well, that's actually something I liked about that one here. like I said, most of the scenes are kind of a mess, but this one particularly, she's sitting at the train station just waiting, and he's just sitting there. And I just feel like he has this vibe where it's just very unsettling as soon as you see him.
Speaking of which, I want to take a quick break real quick. What do you guys think of Art the Clown overall? Like, compared to, I mean, they're trying to get him into like a, he's becoming iconic, blah, 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 you know? Like, do you like the vibe of Art the Clown? Let's start with you, Mikey, because it's your thought on it, too.
If we're talking about this film specifically, or
overall? Ultimately, we don't have to jump in. We can talk about how it progresses, but, like, what do you think? I guess maybe just starting with this one, maybe.
I mean, in this one, he's really like a supernatural being, and he's just like a presence. I didn't really like him in this particular movie. And later on, we'll obviously talk about it a little bit here, but yeah, he's really not super satisfying in this one, other than a couple scenes.
I got you. Mikey? Oh, no, Marco Nabil, sorry.
I kind of agree with Mikey, and that's mainly because he's used sparingly in this first one.
Yeah.
He's the connecting being of all three stories, but it's kind of like, for example, this first one with Casey, like, he sort of just disappears once that monster appears, and I'm like, oh, is he like it, where he turns to like monsters and shit? Like, because I knew nothing about Art the Clown.
Yeah.
So it's like, not
who you be.
It's a cool intro to Art the Clown, but it's not a strong introduction.
Okay.
Yeah. He does have a really unique aesthetic, which I like a lot. I like the look of him, the black and white. And I also, even as we go through the other films too, I like the vibe of Art. He's funny, and he's kind of the highlight in all these films anyways. And I think, like you said, Marco, like in the films the shorts that we did see in these, he was the thing that kind of, though he's anchoring it, I kind of enjoyed it when he did show on screen. I don't like, his character obviously hasn't been fleshed out at this point, but he was kind of the better thing of each time he showed up. I was like, okay, we'll see something crazy. And
yeah,
it's what you're waiting for in these three stories. You're like, all right, where's Art the Clown?
Yeah.
He's really the only interesting part about all three of the films.
100%.
Or the little three segments, whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, I mean, second one, kind of, yeah.
I mean, a little bit in the second
Speaking of
one.
what, second one, it's an alien story for some fucking reason.
Stupid.
It's
The
where
guy
a girl
wearing a
moves in a
cardboard
new
box?
house in the middle of the country. She hears a loud bang. She finds out there's an alien, and that's really it. It's like, I know they were trying to, I read on the background, they were trying to do like some puppetry or something like this, but they didn't have the budget to do it. So it ended up just being a guy in a costume, and I think it looks fucking terrible.
Yeah,
It does.
It does look bad.
Yeah, really bad.
It's not, I don't think it was scary at all. There is a somewhat connection to Art the Clown because she was painting him, right? Or
No, she's like selling the house, I think.
and the
And
painting was already
the
in
owner
it.
was
Is that what it
already
was?
in- Yeah.
So, but once again, never explained. It's easily the weakest. I think it's too dark the whole time, by the way.
It's really dark.
Yeah.
But I think they
Intentionally,
did that on
though.
purpose,
Yeah,
right?
That's intentional for sure.
That's a budgetary thing to hide the, like, hey, we don't want to show the zippers on this fucking zip, probably, right?
Exactly.
It's also just not interesting at all. It's boring.
It is.
Truthfully.
It goes on really long, too.
Yeah.
I think it's the longest one up to 3.
Yeah.
Is it?
And then at least
I
the
thought
amount
the
of
third
stuff
one was the
happens.
longest.
So,
Okay, I mean, that's all I had to say about it. There wasn't much to talk about
There
that
isn't
one.
much.
No,
that
it
was terrible.
Fucking terrible. Yeah.
That was the one where I was like, this one is absolutely the one where if you have to skip a segment, it'd be this part.
I see why they put it in the middle.
Yeah, they probably filmed it and were like, fuck, it sucks.
well, I was reading a lot of reviews or like just people talking about the first film after
Yeah.
I watched it, and they really liked the movie. A lot of people liked it, but even the people that like loved this movie hated this
That segment?
Yeah,
I can see that. So then the last segment for the VHS anthology parts is where costume designer is driving through, stops at a gas station where Art the Clown has apparently spread shit everywhere in the bathroom.
Called a Mikey special.
Yeah, he pulled a upper decker × 3, and basically she's like she gets hunted down by Art the Clown. So
For unfortunate circumstance, really. Wrong place, wrong time. Kind of
yeah, she just
Yeah.
kind of came across it and like, I'm just here to get gas. What are you doing?
This story feels like it should have been the whole movie.
This was
Like,
the strongest one for me, too.
Yeah,
Hands down.
It epitomizes Art the Clown, and I think this one really starts the lore of him because it's more akin to his character and who he is in the remaining series.
I could see that. It has, yeah. Actually, I would say out of comparing it to the previous or the future movies that we know about, it definitely leads to like similar things, especially in the next movie, I think.
Right.
So, I once again though, I didn't think it was particularly scary though.
It was just gross.
It was gory.
It's I would say gross and gory, and even though he looks weird, I didn't get creeped out by him in this one. I don't know about you guys.
I think what's creepy is what Nabil was saying, his vibe, and the fact that he has this persona where he's actually technically more like a mime than a clown, really, because he doesn't talk. All he does is do mannerisms, and his creepy silent laugh, like when he's pointing and laughing because he did something fucked up.
Sometimes I don't like that though. I don't lie. I almost wish he talked.
I actually think it adds more that he's not talking. It makes him.
I do too. Yeah, I didn't like it at first either, James. I think it kind of grows on me.
Well, it's been not for me. Like you can have a person that doesn't talk. Mike Myers doesn't talk, but he's menacing looking as fuck, and he's just he does stuff where he's like just standing in the background, and it's like holy shit, you know.
Yeah.
But then Art the Clown does stuff where I think I don't know. I'm very mixed on Art the Clown still.
He has a very demented, sick sense of humor. Like anything where anyone's in pain or suffering, he finds hilarious. Like that is his entertainment.
Yeah.
Like I think that is like the creep factor of it is that it's hilarious, but also fucked up at the same time. 'Cause it's like, all right, he's acting kind of goofy, but he's also laughing at someone.
Yeah, look, he's honking a horn. He's honking a horn.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm missing from this one, actually, is like the other ones, he's like very violent forward. Like he's chasing people down. And they don't really do that in this one. He does gross stuff. He does violent acts, but himself is not super violent just as a nature.
This one, for the most part, though, is actually not really connected to the other movies. It's not even technically canon.
Right.
But the reason I brought it up is because it's such a prominent film where because it was like a short first, and they took some... he did a few shorts, Damien Lowe, and then he made those into this film, basically, like stretched out. So that's kind of the vibe of the whole thing. So I was like, it might be best. That's why I was like, a lot of people skip this movie. Like, they don't go through with it, so... And then lastly, the wraparound. I'll start with you, Neville. What did you think? Like, it's the overall story with the babysitter and the two kids that can't act to save their life.
God, they were fucking annoying.
I know. As soon as I saw it, I was like, Marco's going to have a problem.
Dude,
with these
especially the fucking boy. I'm like, dude, shut
He's
the
like,
fuck
my parents would let me watch that.
But he's intentionally a little shit, though. And I was like, you're a bad babysitter. You let these kids fucking run over you.
Terrible.
And she's like, okay, we'll watch it. And if something intense happens, so we're turning it off. It's like, you watched the whole fucking thing.
She was
right with the kids.
She's like, I think they're okay.
I think that's supposed to be part of like it's entrancing you to watch the rest, right? Because it's like a mysterious tape. By the way, who the fuck had a VHS player in 2013?
That's what I was like. I was like, how old is this movie? And I saw the year. I was like, no.
They still made hybrids like the DVD and the VHS.
That wasn't a hybrid. That was just a VHS player.
That was straight up a VHS player.
I know a couple people who were like very into like retro shit that would.
I know you knew someone that specifically only watched SD.
I mean, I ain't gonna lie, I still have a VHS player at my house, and it's plugged into a TV, ready to go.
Well, some people, I mean,
he's a collector. That's what it is.
Okay, cool.
Well, I guess we know somebody would be able to watch it if they got it.
I guess if they give it to me, I'm like, throw that shit away.
Come over to Mikey's house.
The clown's at the window. He's like, damn it.
Yeah.
Although there's no real connection with this one and the remaining series, there is one small connection. It's Katie McGuire, who
she's not every one of them. I think she's personal friends with Damien Leone. That's why.
Right. Yeah, but she's the one. She's the one connecting one that goes from this one to.
But she's a different character.
She's a different character.
Oh yeah, totally. But I would just say that's.
Yeah, she's the interviewer in the next movie.
Yeah.
Because he had to throw a bone. Yeah. He's like, thanks for the
It's like more like a redeeming factor because the acting is a little bit better than.
I mean, she had like one scene, but yeah. in the next film, but
basically, kind of, it bookends it technically. So, let's just get into the ratings, guys. What did you guys rate this one? Would you recommend it? And let me know a favorite or worst part. I know it's a loaded sandwich, but Nabil, go ahead.
So I gave this 1.5 stars.
Okay.
So I wasn't a big fan of it at all. The only redeeming thing was Art the Clown. I did enjoy the scenes when he did actually show up. And I'd say you could probably just fast forward and go to that third short. That was the strongest one, and even the best actor.
It's not a long movie,
No,
by the
it's
way.
No,
Hour
that's
15, I think.
the sad part.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't like a 10-minute sick. We're like, what is this bullshit?
I do like the kind of the chase scene thing though in the car though. That was kind of well shot for a student film. I thought that was.
Oh yeah, it's the same scene from Urban Legend.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it is. It's exactly what it is.
It really is, if you think about it.
But it was the more entertaining part of it. Not horror, like you guys said. It wasn't as scary, but it was entertaining.
Yeah. Marco, what about you?
I agree with everything Nabil said. I give it 1.5 stars. And yeah, I'd say really just watch the third story if you really are going to watch it. I mean, if you're a completionist and you're really curious, yeah, watch the whole thing if you want to torture yourself like that. I think that's the scariest part of
Some
the
people
movie.
really like this movie, though. Like
Yeah.
Well,
I
they did make
can
a
see
sequel.
it. It has its graceful aspects, and the cheesiness does add a little bit of like that cult classic vibe to it.
And if you're trying to see where Damien Leone started, I guess, really, and then
Yeah.
how he progressed.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, art really is the memorable part of this movie.
What about you, Mikey?
I also gave this 1.5 stars.
God damn.
Echoing everything the other two guys just said. I do think the ending is decent for me, at least. He breaks that fourth wall a little bit.
Yeah.
He it starts coming into real life kind of stuff.
Very
I actually
ring-ish.
liked the way they presented that part. So
Yeah, the ring.
Yeah.
basically, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what it was.
He ripped off a lot of.
He's got a lot of influences, you can tell, like The Grudge a little bit. I'm like, okay, I see where we're going with this. Yeah, I give it 1.5 as well. So all four of us, 1.5 stars. I
Seal
would
of
say,
disapproval.
truthfully, you can skip this thing unless, like Marco said, you're a completionist. And for me, the best part is probably Art the Clown. But even then, like, we have much better iterations of him down the line in his own solo film. So
Right.
that's why I would say I would just skip this. So.
I do feel if you do want to watch this one, watch the other ones first and then come back.
Then you might just hate it even more, though.
No,
But
no.
I feel like this is a different vibe of art, so it skews what you think of the other films. Like you expect the other ones to be this way, and they're not.
I disagree.
I disagree,
I
too.
feel you watch this one first, not just because it's terrible, but because I feel like that videotape and him breaking the fourth wall is what releases art into the following series. That's how I interpret it.
It doesn't. It's completely different.
Yeah,
it has
but-
Damien Leone says no connection. Plus, not to mention David Howard Thornton's the guy that takes over
He's a different guy now.
afterwards. And I
True.
think he does a much better Art the Clown. That's the Art the Clown you guys are talking about with those
Right.
impressions. I'm like, that's the other guy, another this dude.
Yeah, that's true.
Doesn't that suck if you lost out and then now you watch these, you're like, fuck. Because they've
That could have been
gotten
me.
pretty successful, and he's like, that could have been me.
Yeah.
I was the iconic Art the Clown. He's just there sitting naked with a little hat on his head. He's like, this is me.
He has a horn. He's just honking it.
It's just hella slow though. All right, let's jump into Terrifier.
What if that guy did this to your car?
What guy? The clown? You really think someone slashed my tires?
Well, he knows this is your car. He saw us getting into it earlier.
Hey, handsome!
Cut it out.
My friend wants your number.
Kill you.
What is it, Tara?
Dawn and I are sort of stranded. She has a flat tire and no spare, and I was kind of hoping you could pick us up.
Now is just to remain calm and stay on the line with me until the police arrive.
So this is Terrifier 1, basically. This was 60% on Rotten Tomatoes. A maniac named Art the Clown terrorizes two friends on Halloween and everyone who gets in the way. Once again, directed and written by Damien Leone. Released on October 15, 2016 at the Telluride Horror Show Film Festival. And then it was released March 15, 2018, limited. With a budget of $55,000, this actually made almost $500,000, $416,322. So for the most part, pretty successful for a smaller film. This stars Jenna Cannell as Tara, Catherine Corcoran as Dawn, Samantha Scaffoldi as Victoria, and taking over Art the Clown going forward from here is David Howard Thornton. I'm going to start with you, Mikey. What did you think of Terrifier?
It was okay. I liked it much more than All Hallows Eve. But it's kind of one-dimensional as far as the storyline goes. There's really not much to grasp on.
It's definitely a $55,000 movie, right?
Yeah. But I do like some of the stuff they did with Art. He actually has his own personality now in this one compared to the other one. So I like what they did there. And they actually give away a little bit of the slasher tropes.
Yeah.
They do a little bit of different stuff in this one than they do in the standard slasher film. So I do like that as well.
Gotcha. Okay. What about you, Marco?
It's bigger budget for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, not by much, but you get more kills from Art, which is nice. It's a little bit gorier.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's still, for me, it's a little slow at first. A little slow pace. A little too
Once
much.
again, not a very long movie either.
No.
Yeah. I feel like it takes a while for the story to get going and for Art to get more involved.
Yeah.
And you think it's because it's, giving you more character development from the two main people, Tara and Dawn. And it doesn't.
No.
It's just, they're just talking and it's just like, okay, this is boring. This is like a drunk Tarantino scene. Like,
yeah,
it's just,
kind of. Yeah. A lot of it is.
Yeah.
There's some really drawn out scenes where I think even editing it out would have helped out.
I don't know if he kept it in there because he needed to make the movie longer or somehow in a cheap fashion, and that's really the cheapest way to do it. But I mean, it's like,
he's like, these are my friends.
Yeah, make it creepy at least.
Welcome to SAG.
And Art really starts off kind of like annoying at first in this, rather than creepy.
Yeah.
He's just he's just there, and he's like, he's trying to creep them out by acting like he's like asking one of them to marry them or whatever, but it's not scary, it's not really creepy, it's just annoying.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
What about you, Nimble?
I actually like how they introduced Art in this at the beginning of the film, like
At
him
the
kind of walking in
Italian pizzeria.
Yeah, the
with
pizzeria.
the guys.
I guess it's
Super Italian, right?
Right. Yeah.
Hey, what are you doing here? I was like,
but I like how he's with his trash bag. That's kind of like the whole setup is right there, and he's talking to his two girls, and I like how they're just like toying with him a little bit and like trying to get the picture and whatever.
The one friend is definitely. One friend.
But I didn't hate that as much. But yes, that scene goes on way too long. It could be way tighter.
It's like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's the first act of the film essentially.
Yeah. Don's like, I'm gonna take a photo with him.
But I also like one of the things I did enjoy, even though acting is not the strongest. Obviously, the camera
the
work,
fucking
directing
atrocious in this movie.
But
once again, I think they just picked like college kids and like
it's just a better student film. Like he's at graduate level now. He's working on it.
This is his thesis one. He's like, I'm just doing it to prove that I can make a movie.
Yeah,
like all right.
So he's getting better. He's working on it. But the kills, I like that there were more people being killed here. Like he's got the two guys in the pizzeria. He's got
pretty horrific stuff
and everything, and it's pretty. Like I actually thought that was. I mean, it's gory for me too, but also the setup with how setting the cadence of how violent this clown is was very much apparent in this, and how he goes about it, and even in like when they're in the warehouse and the shit that he does there, like it's. Okay, we get it. We know what you're doing over here. And he lingers on those scenes for quite some time. You could say it's for the gore, but I think it's like Marco was saying, padding also for time. Like, let's just keep this going.
The flip of the switch, like you were saying, where he just goes super violent.
Yeah,
all of
it
a
gets
sudden.
intense.
It's just, yeah.
Why do I think he took a shit in this bathroom too?
He had to clean it. Right?
I'm just me.
Was
he?
Yeah, didn't they talk about cleaning it?
Yeah, the guy left a mess. I think he's shit in there. Maybe he was trying to do a thing with that and then realized, he's like, let's throw away the spit for
there's a fucking upper decker again.
What is up with the shit? Did they follow Jimmy one day for like a week and just be like, this is going to be part of Art the Clown's thing?
He's like, it's disgusting. I still got friends.
Yeah. But so there was some definitely, it's an improvement on what we were seeing over here, but still very much student film. Not, they used that $55,000 budget very well, though.
I mean, they probably had people bring their own food. I mean, there was no catering at this fucking thing.
We're buying Taco Bell today, everybody.
Value menu it is, boys. So, yeah, It is a step above. I agree with you guys, but I still do not like this movie. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah.
So it's very like, and I get it. They don't have money to do a lot of scenes. It's basically the restaurant scene and that warehouse, and that's it.
And
That's really the movie.
A little bit, yeah.
Right.
And the brief street scene with the car. That's it.
Yeah, but they could have shot that outside the fucking place. I don't know.
Yeah, right,
Like the pizzeria, then warehouse down the street. They're like, and we'll use the street that connects to it because we have a permit for that, right? So, and the acting takes me out of it so bad. There's scenes where I think Dawn gets kidnapped, or somebody's like, she looks over and it's Art the Clown in the car, and she screams, and it's like I was like, is that the first take? Because it's terrible, dude.
Probably was.
The whole movie
Because the budget.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
They only did one take
They shot
of every
digital
scene.
too, by the way. But
Yeah.
they're like, we don't have time. I only got 3 SD cards.
Like the most is like the second take, and that's it. It's like, just redo
Because
this one.
just even that, I was like, oh my god. Or the friendly exterminator guy.
Yeah.
And he was like, I'm here to kill mice or
He's a little
something.
too
You don't
friendly.
want to see what's in there. And then he winks at the camera.
Or the rambling homeless
even know
person.
the
Like, I don't know what her story
the
was.
random one. She's like, that's my baby. Playing. I'm like, that could have been cut out
That
entirely.
goes nowhere. Yeah.
That was just because
Yeah.
they want to kill someone else.
That's why I say there's a lot more kills, and I'm like, okay, I like that part.
And then there's just like when Dawn gets killed, she's like, I'm gonna show her naked because we're edgy,
Right.
That's really all it was. There was no
Same with
purpose
the
to
homeless
that.
chick when he killed her. I was like, was that necessary?
Yeah, but she goes back for a doll. She's like, I'm crazy.
Fucking idiot.
Yeah.
So
I guess it was all. I mean, to a point, I guess it kind of showed like this is like a really demented being or person, Art the Clown, and it shows that she was trying to see. Like, she even poses the question:
you good?
Is there any good left in you? And
like,
he
"Ma'am,
answers that question.
his teeth are black.
Yeah, he's pure fucking evil.
Yeah, get out of there.
Was anybody? I'm gonna say I was shocked by it. Was anybody surprised by the fact that he just straight up pulls out a gun and shoots somebody? I was like, oh, okay, never saw this in a horror film.
I was
Didn't
like-
know guns existed here.
Dude, I was
All right.
like, Art's packing?
yeah, just fucking just straight up shot her.
Glock to the face?
It's almost like he likes to toy with people, but when he starts to see they're getting an
He's like-
edge on him,
he's like,
fuck
finish
this.
her.
He said, advantage, Art.
Yeah.
What did you guys think of David Howard then as his portrayal of Art? Was it? Did you feel that it was different from the previous actor?
It was definitely more like fleshed out as
Played
a
by
character.
Mike Giannelli, by the way.
Yeah, I enjoyed what I saw with it. And again, best part of the film was Art in this film as well. Like, and maybe because he doesn't have to talk, maybe that helps. He
Sure,
doesn't need
no
that backing
dialogue
shot.
for him,
No
man.
dialogue.
No dialogue for Art.
Just got a mime, good facial expressions. You know, it was working for me.
Well, yeah, and then they really did like exaggerate the facial expressions, and they started using
Mark
a lot
was
more of the
saying,
mime
it's like a
stuff.
mime,
Right,
yeah.
yeah.
He's very much overusing, like, when he's happy, you know he's happy.
The knee slapper and the pointing and laughing.
Right.
Yeah.
It just works. And this one, he does get a lot more violent as well. That's where we kind of alluded to before. Like, he's not the same kind of character. Like, now he is that super violent slasher-esque kind of person. And he just goes a little bit more for the shock value.
Yeah. Did you guys think Tara was going to get shot in the head straight up?
No, that was not.
That's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
You're like, my
What the
God,
fuck?
isn't she the final girl?
Yeah.
No, her sister Vicky is.
Yeah, and that's what I like that too. It's like they kind of put a little twist on it. You think she's going to be the final girl. She ends up like dying halfway through the movie, and then they like, hey, here's another final girl.
Now Vicky's here and she's confused.
I like that too.
Yeah.
I like that it's you're not sure if anyone is safe, and that actually is a precedent even in the previous film All Hallows Eve, because he's not afraid to kill the kids, which usually in horror movies they are, unless you're Steven Spielberg, because I mean he fucking killed the kid in Jaws. But not many people have the gall to do that, so it's like
I mean, I almost feel like
anyone can go.
I almost feel though like it's done in a way to make it like just trying too hard to be edgy. That's how I felt.
A bit, but it's like self-aware.
Like, look at us, we're grindhouse filmmaking and
yeah,
shit. Look at us.
Graduate level film school. What did we just say? Like, we understand that. Yeah. He's trying to prove himself, James. You got it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, I guess. That's really all I got on this one. So, what's your guys' final thoughts and ratings? Start with you, Nabil.
I gave this film a 2-star, and I will say one of the highlights of the film, which was unique, was was it, a hacksaw or something where it goes and slices the girl right down the middle, and you're just seeing that thing.
That is the goriest, gruesome,
fucking gory as hell. But it was like very unique. Like I'd never seen anything on camera. I was like, okay, he's trying something different here. You know, I couldn't barely watch it.
I feel like a lot of the budget went into that kill.
Yeah, I was like, that was okay. I see what he's doing, and I didn't hate that. I was like, at least he's trying to do something different.
He's like, if we're gonna have one thing they're known for, it's got to be one crazy fucking kill.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, this is what we're saying. So I'll give him that. Like he's trying to do something.
I can see that. Okay. Marco, what about you?
I give this one 2.5 stars. I did enjoy it. It was a breath of fresh air compared to All Hallows Eve. It's not, a great film, but I think the cheesiness and the shitty acting for this one gives it that bit of charm. And the fact that art is this luring, creeping factor in the movie adds to it and makes it better. The reason I laugh is because Nabil is the squeamish one of all of us, and for him
I saw it during Terrifier 3 a few times. I was like,
for him to say that's his favorite, or that scene stuck out for him.
It's just makeup.
I liked the fact that he was eating the chick's face at the end, and that the twist is that she's the person at the beginning giving the interview.
Mm-hmm.
That really stuck out for me, and that actually made me bump my rate just a half star more.
They technically Tarantino it. They don't tell you, they're like, actually, this is the past, and it leads to how this got to here.
Yeah.
Although I can never get over how that chick's face looks like.
It's hard. Yeah.
Dude, it's fucking creepy.
What about you, Mikey?
I also gave this one 2.5. I like that it doesn't hold back. You kind of see a little bit more of Art now and how he's going to be. He's more violent. There's pretty good gore in this one overall, and the fact that no one was safe. Even the final girl got dismembered and crazy with everything else. Like everybody died. Even the person at the end was pretty jacked up. So I like what they had for that part.
Yeah, very French. Yeah, I gave it a 2. Even though it's a step above All Hallows Eve, but I absolutely hate this fucking movie. There's my spoiler. I don't actually like the Terrifier franchise, just to let you guys know. That's why even when I set it up, I said, good luck. There's a reason I haven't talked about it in 2 years. But hey, you know what?
Boys.
It might be growing on me a bit. Who knows? But let's get on to Terrifier 2 now.
So, did you figure out what you're dressing up as tomorrow?
He wants to dress up as a real guy who murdered 9 people last year.
Oh, you're not doing that?
It's just a costume. You think that guy's still out there?
What's up with you and this clown all of a sudden? You're like obsessed.
They never found his body. What if he decides to come back here?
I wouldn't worry about it.
Wait a minute, aren't you that guy from the costume shop?
Sir, what are you doing?
It wasn't me.
He was covered in blood on his shirt and his hands when he got here.
I'm telling you, it was him, Allie. Right down to the little black dot on the tip of his nose.
You're really weird, you know that?
I believe him.
About what? Something really bad's gonna happen tonight.
No, I know when Jonathan's lying, okay? I could hear it in his voice. Something's wrong.
Look, we're gonna have fun. Stress-free environment.
Yep.
Speaking of surprises, kids, we have a very special guest with us today. All the way from Miles County, please welcome Art the Clown.
So, Terrifier 2. After being resurrected by a sinister entity, Art the Clown returns to the timid town of Miles County, where he targets a teenage girl and her younger brother on Halloween night. Once again, directed and written by Damien Leone. This was released on October 6, 2022 in theaters. This had a budget of $250,000. This was like a Kickstarter movie, by the way. And it made, on the box office, it was only supposed to be in theaters, I think, like a week or two, and they extended it out. It made $15.7 million.
Jesus.
So this was the jump.
He's rich now, guys.
This stars Lauren Lavera as Sienna Shaw, Elliot Folan as Jonathan, David Howard Thornton returns as Art the Clown, you have Sarah Voigt as Barbara, Kaylee Hyman as Brooke, Casey Hartnett as Allie, and Emily McLean as Little Pale Girl. I'm going to start with you this time, Marco. What did you think of Terrifier 2?
Did anyone else want to call him Jonathan the whole fucking movie? Sure.
I can't fucking stand that kid.
He's a dweeb in this film, and probably in real life. Let's be real. So
I thought, well, if we're jumping into John, no, we'll talk about John in a sec. Go ahead, Marco.
I actually enjoyed this one. I really did. I think definitely a step above the previous two. You can tell bigger budget.
Yeah,
not by much. The acting improved, not by a lot, but it was a lot better. And again, it adds to the charm.
There's no like big name people in any of these movies until some slight cameo, maybe. But even then, that's not a real actor.
Yeah,
and Bill's like, I don't know.
He's done some films. He's on TV, guys.
It definitely it ups the lore in Art the Clown. There's no real background on this guy or what he is or who he is. It randomly becomes that he's supernatural now, which they did tease in All Hallows Eve to a bit, but again, that's not really connected to the series.
I want to say almost that maybe they had some like, because they were like, we want people to really dive into this character a bit, so like we have to add a little something, right? Because every big killer, Freddy, Michael, Jason, Chucky, they all have a background at least that you're like, oh, I know where he came from somewhat, right?
Motivation.
We don't know.
Art the Clown was just like, is he a guy? I mean, you see him in a laundromat, and you're probably like, oh, he's like a dude,
right? He's just fucking naked there, and then you know, all of a sudden he starts seeing like Ghost Girl and shit. I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Which is like is it like an entity or something?
Yeah.
Even after the third movie, technically, still don't really know.
Yeah, but overall, I enjoyed it. This one felt more like a, I guess, classic slasher mixed with a supernatural horror movie, and I think it did it well.
Okay.
Art is even more fucked up in this one. I feel like he just keeps getting more and more fucked. Just when you think like he's done like the most fucked up thing that you could see, it's like, no, he's gonna do more fucked up shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, Jesus, man, this is fucking ridiculous. But at least we get more from the characters. We get a little bit more background from them. There's more character development. The scenes actually breathe a little, and they don't necessarily overstay their welcome to a point. And I think the movie flows better.
Yeah, cool. What about you, Nabil?
Well, Damien now is like an auteur, right? This
is kind of his thing.
He's over here now. He's figured out what he's trying to make. He's got a little better budget, so
a little bit, yeah. This is at the point. This is 4 times the budget he had, right?
Yeah. So and he's making again. He knows how to spend his money well because he's making it work for what he's got.
Yeah, like I said, they maybe had catering in this one. Yeah. They're like, we're going Burger King.
But I think that I was expecting exactly what James is saying. Like, I was hoping to get a little bit more on his motivation at this point. This is where I'm like, okay, I've seen 2 fucking films of this guy. I need to understand why he's doing this a little bit. Just give me something.
Bill's like, I'm going to fucking stop watching these if I don't know what the fuck. What's his name? What's his real name? Why do they call him Art the Clown?
So, I think this is the film where Art really comes in his own. Like, David, who's playing the character, is really more animated with him. He's got the gesture.
He looks better too.
Like, he looks better. So this is peak where like, okay, I like the clown. Like, I'm okay with this, and the next films we see, like I'm in it for that. The story itself, yes, there's a little bit more character development, and they go into a little bit more with who's killing, but there's not as much kills over here. You start a little bit in the beginning. There's a lull in the middle a little bit, and then you get a lot more at the end. That's why I feel
like it's pretty intense.
I know the violence. The violence is still like intense, but I'm saying like the number of kills compared to like the last one where we just had people just to kill. They just doing people. Not exactly the same thing.
Do you not remember the Art the Clown song where everyone's just dying in that scene?
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
I feel like there is less death in this one, but it's a lot more like personalized.
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense, but
that's
like,
kind of what I'm getting
intimate,
at.
right?
Yes, yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So that's kind of
he kills like the 2 friends pretty fucking viciously, man.
Yeah.
That's. I feel like Nabil, it's less spread out and it's saved more towards like the climax of the film.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying though. Like it's not peppered throughout the film.
It's not a graduate film anymore. It's actually indie film now.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Right?
Yeah, there you go.
See, we sell the layers. That's why we went like college-y, graduate, indie now.
Also, just to add to the mom character, she's like okay at the beginning, and then she's just fucking like hates her kids, but then she loves the kids. Like I don't understand what your relationship is.
She's a heart of gold. She's like, where are you guys?
She's
Mom,
fucking
I love
swearing
you.
at him, cursing him out.
She's like, you been drinking?
Yeah.
She's like, Mom, I love you. She's like, I love you too.
What's going on here?
She's a 90s parent that never like progressed with the passing of time.
Working from home too, because this was shot during COVID. Well, what about you, Mikey?
I kind of echo what these guys are saying for the most part. I do like that they introduced some of the story, but I feel like they packed a lot in there.
It is
some of the
2.5 hours long, by the way.
Yeah, so some of the story kind of just doesn't make sense. We talked about the entity. I still don't know what to think about the little girl.
No one does, Mikey.
Right? So there's that. I feel like there's a whole backstory, which I'm sure we're going to get into with the Sienna and Jonathan. But yeah, they try to do a lot. And it does work for the most part. At least we have a story and some kind of lore that's kind of being built up. But to me, they didn't pull off everything they needed to have a very solid story. Kills were, as I was just mentioning, they're very intimate in this one. Mm-hmm. And if you're okay with gore, it works out pretty well in my opinion. So I like that.
Yeah, I think most people come into these for the kills, right?
Yeah. I do agree with the kills, Mike. They're more intimate. He takes his sweet time. He tortures them before he kills them. This is where he's really playful with them, maybe because they had the budget, and the other one's like, no,
you can tell.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's because like they were successful with their funding for it, and I think that's why there's like a 2.5 hour. He didn't intend for it to be as long, but he shot a lot. He's like, I'm just gonna keep it in and show, and you could tell it could have been edited down. Yeah. Easily. Yeah. 30 minutes could have been cut from this.
I mean, he's probably doing most of the editing himself, so
I think so.
Yeah.
Truthfully, yeah. This one's not bad. This one's decent. I'm still not a huge fan, but it's definitely a step up from the previous two films. I think what works is that Sienna is the final girl, right? Mm-hmm. And you actually have a main lead now that's throughout the film, not just killed off halfway through and then introducing a new character, right? So we get to see someone from the beginning to the end.
You actually care about her because there's some development to
Yeah, there is some character development to her. She's got a past. Her dad was abusive, I guess.
We don't really understand the dynamics.
Even after the third film, I was like, okay.
No, something happened and he became like mentally ill.
Yes, and there's like
then he ate his gun. Yeah.
Then fuck. She has a magic sword, and it's like connected to Art the Clown because her dad was aware of him as a like a entity or demon like creature. But for the most part, I think the kills are like over the top.
Yep.
Right.
There's some shit in here that is like, whoa, if you're squeamish, I can imagine Nabil was probably covering his
eyes. Were covered a lot of times.
Yeah.
I didn't see a lot of these kills.
But I like the look of it. It looks way better. I think it actually starts looking like a real indie film now. You have different locations, which is crazy. It's not just we got house scenes, we got school scenes, we got the little circus thing at the end. We have a montage where she has a dream sequence that's maybe real, where it's got this little song that goes on that comes back even in the next film. So it's a nice little callback. I think it works. The acting, though, still pretty terrible.
Better.
Sienna's not bad. Don't get me wrong.
The brothers shit.
Jonathan is the worst. He's the weakest.
Okay, let's talk about Jonathan real quick. Jonathan's fucking weird, right?
I mean, he loves his sister, I guess. So that's sweet.
I mean, if there's a school shooter, it's this kid.
Yeah.
This is the kid, right? And he's like, I don't know, but this is my life. And he's researching weird shit. I'm like, hey, get this guy help because this kid. Something's a little off.
He wants to dress up like Art the Clown. I'm like, what the fuck?
But he did that because, like, his dad had a picture of Art, right? So he's kind of investing that time.
No, it's because the killings. They know about Art. Art killed himself.
But that's what started his research, is because his dad had a picture of him.
No, he did it because he feels like if he dresses up, it's like kind of like he's confronting his fears. Like if he dresses up, because Sienna says it at near the end. you think he's gonna spare you because you're dressed like him. He'll feel a connection with you. He's not. That's why he's doing it, because he's fucking deathly afraid of him.
Maybe that. I thought it was like Scream, where everybody after Scream, like, I'm going to dress up as Ghostface now because it's cool.
Kind of like that too.
Because it's this plot from Scream.
I mean, yeah.
I can tell you every movie. It's a little Scream. It's a little Friday the 3rd. No, not Nightmare on Elm Street. Heavy. Heavy. Especially her waking up and everything's on fire. I was like, your dreams become real.
Which, again, not really explaining any of that at all.
Just go with it, Naboo.
But you can't just...
He's crazy. He's a clown.
He wants you to go with it, but none of it's justified to me. That's where I'm getting a little frustrated with the character. I'm like, okay, it's fine. Give him all the powers.
It's because his thing is... he goes for your fears, and his fears...
Sure. For the one person, but why this? Because then now it's like...
It's the plot of it.
But for me, it's like, why this? Because the other films, they were random, right? Like, he just happened to bomb these people. This one is targeted.
Is it because they're starting like a plot to kind of give you background more?
So maybe
I think this is the first movie that really starts to try to at least dive into something.
Build a little lore for him.
Even though, like Mikey said, he still doesn't know, but it's like, hey, he gave it to you, okay?
Yeah.
It's got to be loosely connected to the dad in some way or another, some shape or form. Like, he sort of tapped into...
Which I think he always knew he was going to make another movie, probably. So maybe he's like, you'll find out in the sequel.
It's like what happens in the middle of the Jason movies, where he's
You can't even say that though. They've changed that so many times.
Oh yeah.
But now maybe his mom wasn't. I don't know. Counselors? Question mark. Because Jason comes back too, but after the sixth movie, you're like, now he's immortal.
Who's the character he's connected to in like the middle three movies?
Tommy Jarvis?
Yeah, it's kind of like that, where it's like Art is connected to Santa's family in some way, shape, or form.
But then the eighth film, they're like, but now he's connected to the girl with the psychic powers.
Yeah.
Wait, are we just got a dartboard and throwing it?
Does Santa have psychic powers? Like, what kind of
it's hinted that she's like the only one that can kill him, right?
Well, she's an angel, right? Like, tell me that's not fucking an allegory for some shit. Like, she's supposed to say, it's very apparent here.
Or Wonder Woman.
I guess, yeah.
She dies, and
the Wonder Woman movies were doing pretty good during this time period.
Also, she's supposed to be 16 and going to.
She's 26, by the way.
Yeah, I was
in
like,
real life.
I don't think any parent would let you go out like that.
But yeah, her powers just come out of nowhere.
I mean, you kind of just have... It's one of those movies, guys, where you just go with it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
But I get what Bill's saying, though. It's like, you can only go with it for so long. And they do try in this movie to have something for you to grasp onto. It's like it's almost too late. Like, we've seen 3 movies now, and we're just now getting stuff. And the stuff we're seeing... doesn't make a lot of sense. I think it's because they have
the budget finally to do it, though.
Well, yeah, but a lot of the stuff they're doing just doesn't make sense at all. Like they don't explain enough for you to actually grasp onto anything.
I would buy in. I would buy into this a little bit more if he just was like, because the dad died and apparently has a connection to Art or something, that she read up on his materials and just saw something that he maybe read something, and then it led him to go mad. And like, okay,
true.
So he's got something here supernatural that's gonna give me just a little bit. Nothing. He doesn't see through to the lore that he's building.
I got one on that in the bill. I was thinking that it would, since her dad lost his mind, that Art was the essence of that madness, and the little girl represented Diana.
Right, definitely.
So I was like, oh, okay, I guess that kind of makes sense. Now we're kind of seeing where he's come from. He's like a demented version of like her dad.
But 2.5 hour film. You can give me a little bit.
Yeah.
You're like, this is the length of fucking one of the Lord of the Rings films.
Right.
There's a lot more lore in that, right? My God, Frodo?
Just a little bit.
It's the length of the dark
night. What about the pale girl, though? Like, really over the top. There's some disgusting fucking scenes with her that are like, ugh.
Oh, where she shits herself at the laundromat? Yeah.
Or just is like, just stuff coming out. I don't even...
No, but it's like that's one of the things I was kind of talking about a minute ago. It's like you see this, and in the beginning, it's not really there, right? The guy at the laundromat is looking over. He's playing, patty cake with himself. He doesn't have anybody there. But then later on, Jonathan is saying, "Hey, we got to get rid of her." So it's like, is it real? Is it not real? Like, what's going on?
What is it? A fucking possum?
Yes, I know, right?
And then out of nowhere, the teacher's like, "Your son's disturbed."
I think they totally mishandled Jonathan I'm going back to him. Like, they made it seem like he's a fucking psychopath, but then it's like,
I'm telling you,
it's totally different by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And by the beginning of the third, it's like, so was it a phase or is he a psychopath?
It was a phase, I guess.
I was honestly thinking that they were going to use him. He was going to turn into like Art, essentially. Like they were going to kill him off, but then he was going to become that.
I was going to sneeze. Sorry.
Is where I thought was going to go with. And like, it's just basically he's an evil demon that is inhabiting things, which we kind of get that in the next film kind of thing. But
yeah,
and that's where I thought it was going to go with that. Yeah, without knowing
this
that.
as its
That's where I
own
was gonna
film.
go. Yeah.
If we had a slightly better editor or edited, I'm telling you, it does not need to be 2 hours and 20 minutes long, right?
Not at all.
No.
At all.
Yeah.
Hour 45 is a sweet spot for most horror films.
BJ is like, hire me.
I mean,
no, I couldn't edit this thing down. I don't like editing video. But the kills, I would say, though, is probably the highlight of this film with Art the Clown, where he's killing, like, he kills off the friends. She's with her boyfriend. That scene I thought was pretty good.
Yeah.
The ending almost gets a little Marvel-y in a way. Like, I have to kill him with a sword of doom or some shit, you know, like.
Just randomly.
Yeah, the Marvel films were doing really good at this time, so. This is before they took a dip. I think they started filming this way in advance, by the way. This was
It probably was delayed.
This took a while to come out. I think it was filmed in 2019.
Yeah.
And then into 2020. And then all this crap happened. Like, here we go. So, let's get into ratings. Mikey, start with you. What did you rate Terrifier 2?
I gave this one 3 stars. I think it's the best one by far that we've seen so far out of the films there. And there's enough story to kind of keep me going by. The kills, like you were just mentioning, are crazy good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I liked it.
Marco?
I give it 3 stars also. It's really enjoyable, even though there's a lot of plot holes, even though some of the acting is still, not up to par. I think that's still part of the charm. It's just an interesting movie to watch, and the kills are just fucking insane and out of this world. So, I think if you're into that, then yeah, check it out.
What about you, Nabil?
I gave this 2.5 stars. It's a step up from the last one for sure, just a little bit. And there's just he's just not quite there. He's almost got it, I think, but he's still not quite there.
Okay. I gave this one 3 actually. I thought it's, for most parts, enjoyable film. If you're into slasher films, like I said, I still don't think it's great. But I think compared to the other previous 2, this is easily, like Mikey said, out of the ones that we've seen so far, this is arguably probably the best one out of those 3 films.
Definitely.
But like Nabil said, though, it's just missing something still a little bit. And I think it's the runtime goes a little bit too long. Acting's a little still pretty shitty. Not saying that a lot of horror films are acted well, but there are some really well acted horror films. But it's kind of the norm, I guess, for what we're seeing so far. So, All right, Terrifier 3.
You survived the most famous serial killer since Jack the Ripper. The 5-year anniversary is coming up. I think a lot of people would really like to hear from you after all this time. Want to know what it's like to be in the presence of that kind of evil. What goes through your brain when he's close enough to you. You feel his breath.
I saw him today.
Who? How can you be sure it was really him?
I could feel it.
Who is this Santa? He's scaring my kid.
Yeah, he's scaring me too.
Hey, Santa's handing out presents!
Sitting at a 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, Art the Clown is set to unleash chaos on the unsuspecting residents of Miles County as they peacefully drift off to sleep on Christmas Eve. Like the other movies, directed and written by Damien Leone, this was released just this last week on October 11th, 2024 in theaters, and highest budget by far with $2 million. This, Lauren Lavera returns as Sienna Shaw, Elliot Fulham returns as Jonathan, David Howard Thornton is Art the Clown, and then we have Samantha Scafidi as Victoria Hayes, returning from the first film, and she was actually theoretically in the second film too. Margaret Ann Florence is Jess. Bryce Johnson is Greg. And Antonelli Rose is Sienna Johnson's cousin, Gabby. I'm going to start with you, Nabil. What did you think of Terrifier 3?
I don't know if it was because of the audience I was with, the company with the movie pass.
Oh, yeah, by the way, we did all see this,
we saw this all
together.
Yeah. But I enjoyed this film way better. Like this, I know people,
we had a good crowd too, I think.
Yeah, it was a good crowd. I enjoyed art. I liked the Christmas theme that was going on. I wasn't sure about it at first. I'm like, I don't know if this is going to be something.
You're like holiday themed.
Yeah.
What? You're like, it's spooky season, ain't Christmas.
There were some funny parts that they leaned in with the Christmas thing. I thought it was great. The kills were intense. I definitely wasn't seeing all of them. They got very gory.
I looked over a few times and I would tell Mikey, look in the bill.
That's the $2 million right there, guys. He really spent the money on that. But and it's actually better acted. Still not the best acted, but better acted.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
So I thoroughly enjoyed. There's a lot of I will say memorable kills over here, and they did spend more on the background of the characters. Like I enjoyed that. He actually is trying to flesh out more of this lore. We got a little bit more nuggets, but still not enough on Art the Clown. So
yes. What about you, Mikey?
Yeah, I echo what Nabil just was mentioning. I think they do flesh out a little bit more of the background of not really Art, but I guess it's all kind of one lore. And I did like the kills. And they really kind of amp up the funny in this one, too, which is kind of weird to say for a slasher/horror movie.
He's a clown, Mikey. Make you laugh.
But they had some really, memorable scenes, in my opinion. There's a couple, just scenes of just crazy stuff that happens, but it's very rememberable. I just like the way they kind of...
The word is memorable, Mikey.
Rememberable.
No, memorable.
No, rememberable.
There's no re.
What about you, Marco?
I don't know if it's because we all saw it together on a date, or
quadruple time, baby,
or the crowd, but I really enjoyed this one too, man. I think the experience definitely added to it. First one we've all seen in theaters, and the fact
maybe it's a better theater experience.
Yeah, that might be it.
Yeah,
too.
Well, you get the interactions, right? Like the other people around you are like, oh,
or the person who forgot to turn off the fucking phone.
T-Mobile phone.
Yeah,
dude, every fucking 2 minutes, every 10 minutes, I was like, still getting those notifications, huh?
didn't even bother, didn't even try to turn it off. But I think that adds to the charm of the experience. And the bill was fucking in town, dude.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people leaving the theater too, so that was fun.
Were there?
Yeah.
There was a few, yeah.
I didn't see anyone. Mostly because Mikey was to my left. I couldn't see shit past him. I kept looking. I was like, and that's a wall. Never mind. Not sure what's going on. There could be a shooting in this theater, and I'd still be sitting there like, people are dead.
Or the T-Mobile thing would have distracted you. Echoing what these guys said, I agree. I think that the characters are more fleshed out. I think that Damien Leone improved his writing a little bit in this. We recognize the events from the previous movie with what Sienna went through and everything. I think it's good that he brought that into this and didn't totally ignore it. Art the Clown, Vicious is all fuck.
Yeah.
There's one truly memorable scene that someone in this table, spoiled, but that's okay.
Oh my god, it's in every preview.
Did not see it at all.
It's literally in every preview.
Ruined the movie. Ruined the movie.
Yeah, trust me, I heard your comment. Oh, bigger than film. I'm like, well, people told me. I don't fucking know. I'm like,
I looked over and I was like, beginning of the movie,
It still worked out for me, though.
I'm just giving him shit. No, it's fine.
There's no way in your sick mind you imagine that's what's going to entirely happen. Because I was like, that's pretty intense.
Point. I didn't want to know what was going to happen.
Oh, my God.
No, it was still quite memorable and enjoyable. Well, not enjoyable. It was just fucking intense.
I was like, enjoyable. I was like, Marco needs help.
I went back and watched it again.
Sent a text to the guys. He's using it again, boys.
Enjoyable
It's turning him on.
The fact that it was just very well filmed. It was fucking intense.
Better, but the budget definitely shows.
The acting definitely improved in this one. I felt like the actors were more comfortable with the characters.
He might have finally used people that weren't his fucking friends.
I don't think that they used the first or second take in this. They actually were able to hone in on the scenes and the lines that they were speaking.
It was Chipotle catering this time.
Yeah. Like, even the new characters, I'm like, oh, wow, they're actually, damn, they got some skills. Cool.
I noticed that too, yeah.
Yeah.
It was enjoyable compared to... It was about... Once again, I still don't think it's great. That's just me, though. Like I said, I still think it's still missing a little bit of something. Because, like Mikey said, even after all this, I still am pretty much in the dark. Like, okay, I'm trying to kind of piece things, especially how it ends. I'm like, that was weird. Yeah. So I think it helps that Sienna's back as the main character again. I think it's good that he used somebody, and it's a continuation story, very much like classic horror films, like Halloween, where we have Jamie coming back for several sequels, and certain like we talked about Tommy Jarvis for a few of the Friday the 13th, not all of them, but it helps with that. I think the kills are super over the top. It's insane, some of these kills, and I can see why. Especially the first 10 minutes. That's the one where everyone's like, oh, people walked out because certain things happen. And it looks better, hands down. Yeah. I agree with you guys on that. It looks a lot better. The acting, though, it is slightly better, but I wouldn't say it's anything like Hereditary style, where like these people could win Oscars.
It's not that type of film, though. Most slashers don't have like super good acting. I feel like most of them are still pretty subpar, in my opinion.
Sometimes I would say the Scream films do really good with acting. Yeah. So
the new It movies also,
but they also have a lot bigger budget. So we're talking about $100 million plus films at this point.
Yeah, this goes from like indie to like he has filmed a bunch of music videos and finally got the chance to do the horror film.
This guy became McG, basically.
Yeah,
we're going to
give
Spike Jones.
We're going to give you a Terminator film now. How about that?
That's what happened here. Yeah.
But I have to appreciate that he stuck to his guns, like we talked about previously. There was other studios that were going to pick this up, but he wanted to create a control still. I still think down the line he's going to do a big budget film.
Definitely.
I have a feeling, like, 'cause even though he's working on Terrifier 4, I think someone's going to offer him enough, because money talks, right? He's going to be like, I guess I'll become a multi-millionaire.
I can see by some of the kills in this movie why he didn't go to a big studio. They'd make him cut at least two fucking scenes.
Worried about an NC-17 rating or something.
Yeah. I think is this rated R or unrated too?
I think it's rated R.
It's rated R, I think.
Is it? It's pretty intense. So.
Also, Nabil mentioned before we started, like, this movie's already making a ton of money compared to like the budget. So
yeah,
it's definitely successful.
At this time, the weekend that I saw this morning was at $18 million, and then on budget of $2 million.
Yeah, it's already made money.
Yeah.
So, moving into it then, do you guys like how the plot continues off it? Like, jumping into that, what did you think of, now that we have more background, right? I guess is what I'm looking at. What did you guys think of that overall? Like, now we somewhat kind of learn more about the dad. And the spirit of the pale girl has gone into Vicky's body and is embodying them.
Is that what happened? That's where I didn't get. I was like, there's something I definitely missed, and I wasn't sure how that happened.
Dude, the whole time.
Yeah,
I just think she's so crazy.
Why she talking weird now?
Yeah,
that's her.
That makes
She's
sense.
inside her body,
which now makes sense why there was like an ability to transient her body self to the other girl. I was like, oh, okay.
Holy shit, Nabil! Really?
Yeah, I was wondering how she just has this ability. Is that just a thing? Okay.
Classic Nabil.
But it's also weird.
It is weird.
It's still weird.
Super fucking weird.
Yeah. Well, it might stem from just not knowing why she's in the second film, right? Like, we don't really know her origin and that kind of stuff. And I think that kind of carries over to the third film, right? It's like, you just don't know where she came from. I guess they kind of hint at it.
Yeah, I can see
they don't hit it at all in the second film, let's be real.
No, I'm saying the third film, they're hinting at like she's like a demonic presence.
Yeah. Right.
Yes.
But I mean, like, the weird part is that it's almost, in this movie, it's like it portrays it like they're in love, and I'm like, but if that's supposed to be the spirit of the little girl, that's pretty fucking disgusting.
Yeah, it's just
I think that was just like, I don't think she's actually really a little girl. I think it's
just a spirit.
She's just like a demonic presence. Like, she takes the form of whatever, right?
Right.
I guess
that's
how I was seeing it. Plus, Art the Clown's a disgusting person. He's not supposed to be like a good person. We already know this. He's pure evil, right? So it wouldn't matter if it's an octopus or a fucking dragon, right? Really.
Well, I like it. It definitely, they don't tell it to you. He's kind of trying to show it to you, but like the scene where the sword is being forged in hell by a demon, by an angel, kind of thing, in control of the sword.
Yeah, the Silent Hill.
Yeah, Silent Hill thing. Yeah, I mean, again, reference into the
super heavy, brother. I was like.
I saw that and I was like,
someone knew the Silent Hill 2 remaster was coming out this week. He's like, trust me, it's going to do bonkers.
And that's what I was looking at. I was like, okay, so he's some kind of demon from hell. Is essentially what
that is such a random. Now think about it, like such a random shot.
Just a random shot. Is probably
You're like, is that the Uruk-hai from fucking Lord of the Rings?
Dude, right? Hey, with the fucking swords.
Meat's back on the menu, boys.
For a $2 million budget, it was a good effect. I was like, I like this.
It looked good.
Just a good
I won't lie.
Yeah.
We learned it's 5 years after the last movie, and Sienna was apparently she had to go. The events of the second film fucked her up.
Yeah.
Apparently, didn't fuck up Jonathan though.
No, he's fine.
No, he's okay.
He's got a few things there where he's kind of jacked up still.
So Jonathan, though, is the biggest pussy in this entire film, right? Yeah. Once again, every time he was on screen, I wanted to scream.
Also, I guess they have reconstructive surgery for Achilles tendons now, because, I mean, that shit got chewed off in the previous movie. Yeah. I'm just saying.
You can heal it. You can heal it, I guess.
Okay.
Well, we didn't see his feet.
I guess.
Okay.
I mean...
He's not limping, though.
It's one of those things, too, where you're like, just go with it. It's because the plot has to happen, right?
They're like, he has scars. Like, he should have fucking more scars. Like,
dude, the scene where they're like, show off your scars there, and the Gabby's like, I fell and glass was in it. And I'm like, Gabby, you're a loser.
It doesn't make sense that if he's that traumatized, why did she end up going to the hospital and he didn't? You know what I mean?
I think because she was more heavily involved with it, because she's the catalyst to it all, I think.
True.
Or once again, the plot has to happen.
Yeah.
Because of
and if
reasons.
they both went, it'd be too hard to explain. They're kind of showing like Jonathan's whole thing is like he got past it. Mm-hmm. Even though early on he wrote like a letter like, we have to kill the pale girl. I'm like, who the fuck writes that? Yeah. By the way.
Yeah, that was
like, I'm going to leave you a note.
That was a weird line. I was reading that. I was like, why? Like, was that reference in the previous film that had to be done? Like,
I think it's because he was one of the few people that could see her.
Yeah.
So I think that was the connection to it. Like, oh, that must be the source of the evil. But
and he can't have that text on his phone. That's why.
Worst acting moment, by the way. Worst acting moment for me is when she comes and confronts him with the letter. Do you remember this letter? And she fucking reads the whole thing, and I'm like, we didn't do that. What the fuck are you doing?
I was like, I already read it in the previous scene.
I was like, what are you doing?
She's like, just in case you missed it because someone forgot to turn off their T-Mobile phone.
No, it's because they were like, it's because we filmed this scene first, and then we went back and filmed another scene, and we're filming out of order. Fuck. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, the college setting was cool, though.
Yeah, that was fun.
Let's talk about the two big death scenes. So if you want to skip about 5-6 minutes here. But like the first scene, I have a although pretty over the top, right? Just kids getting killed. Art just shows up. Did anyone else think it was random as fuck though?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking it was the future. Just they did the same thing that they did in the first.
I was telling Mikey that too. I was like, is that the family?
Yeah.
That we see, but no. It's just a random scene of where he
in my
went
mind, it was like, this is where he went essentially before he goes to see Sienna and them.
Yes, but
after he becomes
the way
Sienna.
I looked at it was like, was this the scene they shot to try to show to studios first? And like, this is the movie we're gonna make.
Just keep it.
Yeah.
Just keep it. Let's
and
go.
then we're like, fuck it. Once again, I think the movie's too long. 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Just take 20 minutes off.
Yeah, and the thing is, like that first scene that doesn't connect to anything else in the film. You don't need it, right? I mean, the rest of the film is still pretty
brutal
glorious.
art is.
It almost feels like that should have been like the trailer or something, or
like a prologue that was online, and then it's like watch the rest of the movie,
right?
Because this sounds stupid, but remember when Alien Covenant came out?
Yeah.
They had a only online scene of what James Franco scenes like leading up to the movie, but it was not in the movie. Mm-hmm. That's what I felt like this was.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they could have just opened the film with him at the hospital.
The hospital.
Yeah,
they could have just continued, not like 5 years prior. Like,
yeah.
What?
Because it looked like the same house that like his aunt and uncle lived in.
It might have been.
I think it was.
Yeah,
dude.
That's why I think that's the only connection is like.
But that's the confusion though, where I was like, "Is that the same house?" Was it like in his head that they looked different, but they actually? I thought it was going to be a reveal to be like, actually, that was the family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it wasn't at all.
Completely separate thing.
Well, maybe Art knew. I didn't even think about it being the same house, but maybe Art knew that's where like the origin of the family was. So they went there because he thought the family would still be there.
Oh, and he killed
the family. Just happens to be a different family.
So basically, the plot of Halloween.
Yeah. The crazy part is he's already got the Santa Claus suit there. But then we see how he gets the Santa Claus suit later. And it's like
that's what I'm saying. So that's why I was like, it's probably.
What's going on here?
Dude, you have to do like a ride
Is this
out.
The Witcher season 1?
Yeah. They don't even tell you. Like, wait, that was 7 years in the past?
Yeah.
Wow. I had no idea.
Going off on the kills though, definitely one of the most fucked up ones was obviously the fucking Santa Claus one where it's the time bomb and then he just blows up all those fucking kids. That's why he didn't go to the studio. They would have immediately said you're cutting that fucking scene.
I was laughing hysterically. I don't know if you guys got me.
Painful but funny.
I was laughing my ass off. I was like, please blow up. Please blow up.
The kid opening the gift was so stupid. I was like, oh my god, dude. Are you fucking serious?
Dude, he was like, what's this? Boom. And I was like, oh, fuck.
Dude, it was
unexpected, to be honest. It was like, okay.
I mean, dude, he muffs out the brother in the beginning.
Yeah.
He just goes in and you just hear like flesh and axe. And I was like, nice. So, biggest scene though, like I said, the spoiler wise we're here, but is that shower scene crazy, right? Once again, he was inspired by Psycho.
Yeah.
As you guys can tell.
Yeah.
And he said it too. He watches it twice a year, apparently, ever since he's a kid. And a little bit Texas Chainsaw Massacre there.
A little bit, yeah.
With literally the way he's revving up.
And a very intense sex scene for what we're actually supposed to be getting out of this. I was like, this is, for nothing, there's a lot of like...
That's the point. It's supposed to traumatize you like that.
Like, yeah, but I was like, in the dorm though?
Yeah, I was like, this is a lot.
Anybody could walk in.
No, they had a party, James.
That's
don't you know?
the thrill of it, James.
Yeah, they had a party.
And when the most unbelievable part is where Santa's like, Jonathan's going to a party. No, he's not. No, he's not.
No. Dude, but man, that scene with the chainsaw, like,
good scene. Good scene. Hands down.
Chops his fucking head. He fucking tears his fucking knee. When he takes a step and his leg just fucking breaks off.
Oh, it was gross. I was like, I looked over and it was like this.
Scalps the fucking chick with the fucking chainsaw.
She's wild.
And then she's like defending herself too. Yeah, that was funny. The boot was fucking funny.
I looked at James. I was like, I know he'll appreciate it.
I thought the scene leading up to it was funny too, where she's talking. She's like, I just want to know what it feels like, and then he's just like,
oh yeah.
There are some off-scene deaths too, quite a bit.
So again, we'll go to the spoiler, but Sienna's brother Jonathan dies off screen.
Well, the reveal of it is first you see the head, and you think it's the cousin first.
Right.
He's like, because Vicky can talk, which I think adds to that scene.
Yes, it does.
Because if not, they'd be like pointing.
Yeah. And I knew it was Jonathan.
Oh, I was happy as hell. I even told Mike, I said, I hope to God that's Jonathan.
He said it like 40 times before it happened.
Yeah, I said, if Jonathan dies here, I said, please. I was
but
like,
I feel like
chef's kiss.
we didn't get the chance to actually see the death, and I would have liked that.
And you don't actually see the dad die.
Yeah, I would have liked
the
to see
uncle,
that.
sorry, the uncle. Well, the dad, yeah, but...
I think it was kind of like what Mikey said. It would have to be rated NC-17 if he included those deaths.
I think they ran out of budget.
I think the uncle was fine because they had him kind of splayed up there. I was like, okay, he sort of got to that thing.
He laid it up a little too much on that one.
Right.
And he's taking the intestines down. And he's like,
we got to see enough of everything else. Yeah. But the brother, considering he's such a big character in the last film and in this film,
that was disappointing.
You would have wanted to see.
Yeah, because unless they somehow show you another, like, actually that wasn't the brother. They could do that.
I mean, you don't technically know.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, oh, they're
guys, he didn't show up for filming, so we just assumed he didn't want to do it anymore.
Yeah. They're like, he's crying in his trailer. What do we do?
And they kind of do also use it as like, it could be with Gabby, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, they couldn't have that play if they showed you the death beforehand. So I get why they kind of hid it.
So Gabby, though, is just really enthralled the whole time. She's the new character.
She's going to her body.
She is so obsessed with her. It's insane. Like,
it's like a sisterly thing. It's a big sister type thing. She looks up to her, you know.
No, it came off as a little too much to me. And it was like, even she's like, she doesn't like cereal. And then I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
She's like, I read your whole diary. I'm like, and then I told Mikey, I was like, the Bible you fucking wrote? Like, did you have 7 fucking days?
She's only been fucking there for a couple of days, yeah.
Yeah, she's like, I skimmed through it. Who's the clown guy? What did you guys think about the flashback to the dad?
I thought that was a good addition to the film to give you some more on that, the significance, but we still didn't get enough because it's just like, I got this character for you. Doesn't really explain much about the sword. Still, like in that scene, or why he's like holding on to dear God because he's having the image of art. Like, what does that all mean? Nothing.
The whole thing was like, was he possessed by the entity or whatever?
But did it just show up? Like, I don't understand why.
They don't really explain it. It's like he knew kind of about it, and then like he warns her, like,
Ron. It's because he knows he wants to make Terrifier 4.
Especially with how the movie ends.
Yeah, I'm just gonna give you something.
Just a little taste. Just a little taste. Yeah, he's like, plot.
Was that his breaking point though?
It was, I think.
Right. So it's kind of like
they don't show you. Was he being abusive? Because they mention
they keep leaning into that, but there's nothing that they've actually shown to say otherwise.
After he went, I think, crazy.
It probably got worse then. Yeah, so we'll see that in the next movie.
It showed he started to get like handsy.
Yeah, I was gonna say he gripped her a little hard.
He had the BDJ grip right there, and I was like, he's grabbed me like that before.
Maybe that's why like their mom was like. Had
your dad wasn't a good guy.
He just wasn't good to the mom.
You think he was a good guy, right? Yeah. Maybe because he was already possessed and it was turning into that, and the only way out of it was killing himself.
Yeah.
That makes. Well, see, but once again, we had a.
But we're just drawing conclusions.
Yeah, we're piecing that together off of like snippets of dialogue, right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's revealed that he had a drawing or the painting of Art the Clown, and that's what possessed him.
From All Hallows Eve, the alien thing.
Oh, good.
Oh, he bought the picture.
Ooh, so the next canon? No, probably not.
Maybe. Are we fucking writing this next film for him? Is that
out of nowhere, written by James Ring.
We're on fucking Reddit right now with a fan page just fucking going through the whole background. Let's just build this.
Someone's like, this podcast's pretty good actually to break it down. Even like there's a scene where like she gets a sword and it's off fucking camera. She just comes back like, I got it.
Dirty hands, right?
Yeah, she's like, what happened? She's like, I fell. I'm like,
okay.
Did you?
Yeah. Fall in a ditch?
Because we didn't see that scene because I guess it was buried back at the. She says she has to go back to Terrifier, by the way.
Go get it. Yeah.
Was that the name of the ride or some shit?
Yeah.
Oh, see, sorry that I didn't know. I was like, that's the name of the movie. I thought she was I'm gonna have to go back to Terrifier 3. What? What?
Like, we must go back.
There's
to
3
the
of those. All right, let's end it here, guys. So, what's your overall rating of it? Would you recommend it? And tell me what was this? Well, I mean, I think we all have the scene that stands out. But let's start with you, Mikey. What's your rating of Terrifier 3?
I give it 3 stars. It's the same rating as the second one, but I do think this one is a little better.
Yeah, like a 3.2.5.
Yeah,
3.25. Okay. Marco,
I give it 3.5. I think that, and that's really because of the experience of going to see it with you guys, and also because it was. Well, I feel like the movie itself is meant to be seen in theaters. I think it feeds off that audience reaction, and I feel like Damien Leone almost made it for that. There's almost scenes that almost expect you to the movie to pause and let the audience have a reaction,
a gasp or something. Oh my god!
Either a gasp or a laugh when
Jonathan's
doing something fucked up. Yeah, or Jonathan dying. But overall, it flows better. It does go on a little bit too long, but I get it. Like this guy, he wants to throw everything in the kitchen sink.
Yeah, it's pretty apparent that he loves the material that he's writing, and it's. I'm telling you, just one little editing, just a little more editing, maybe a little tighter, a little bit tighter. I think.
Yeah.
So
the acting is better. It's not Academy Award winning quality, but it's still that much better. And the kills, man. Like,
hey, Ron Howard's brother's in it. Okay. They got some cameos finally.
I think. That's right. The whole
Clint Howard is. Clint Howard's a big B movie guy, especially horror films. He was in the Ice Cream Man shit or the Densest Things or whatever. And he's in the scene with the Santa Claus. He's the other guy.
At the bar? Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. As soon as I saw him, I said, that's Clint Howard. So, what about you, Nabil?
Yeah. I give this 3 stars. It's a better film. I think we're at the point over here where we're starting to actually have a significant storyline with what he's trying to do with his lore. He's still, like James said, though, there's still more that needs to be done, better editing. And I also just like Art the Clown even more so in this film than the other ones. Like, he's just more animated. It's funny when he's on screen.
Yeah.
He's doing stupid shit and is enjoying all the different kills that he's doing. And like he's the comic relief as well as a like cover your eyes if you don't want to see this shit kind of person. So it's like I'm I'm more interested in the clown. I need to understand a little bit more of his motivation.
No, I know, yeah.
You know.
I'm with Mikey and Nabil. I give it 3. It might actually be a little bit, like I said, like a 3.25 if we did those.
Yeah.
Not quite a 3.5, but I had fun. I think it did help the theater experience.
Yeah.
Maybe even Terrifier 2 would have been slightly better if we had seen it in theaters when it come out, but it's definitely the budget shows finally, and I think at this point they'll probably give me even more of a budget for the next movie, I'm assuming. But there are some really memorable scenes, kill-wise, gore-wise, in this one that I think a lot of people will talk about, especially if you're a slasher film fan. And I would recommend it, yeah. So that is the Terrifier franchise. But overall, how was your guys' experience with it? I'll start with you, Mikey. What did you think? Did you like it overall? Was it enjoyable?
Yeah, I think I got out of it what I expected to.
Okay.
It's not my favorite slasher style movie, but it was good enough that I would probably watch these later on. So at least the last two, part 2 and 3, I would definitely watch again later on and kind of go through, maybe see if I missed something or anything like that. I probably didn't, but
yeah. I was like,
I enjoyed it. I
don't think you missed anything, Mikey.
Yeah.
But he's like, what's her name again? What about you, Marco?
It was interesting. I think it got progressively better as the movies went on, and Damien Leone.
Leon?
God, I can't say his name. Got more of a grasp of what he was trying to do with his character and got more of a budget. I agree with something James said at the beginning before we did this, which is don't watch these, don't marathon these.
Do not.
Give a little breathing room.
That made sense, right, guys?
Yeah. And he is
Did
right.
you guys gap them?
I did, yeah.
I had at least a day between each one.
Because I'm telling you, when I originally saw these, I saw All Hallows Eve, Terrifier and Terrifier 2 all back to back, and I was so fucking burned out by that. Like the next, like everyone was like, "Fuck."
They're intense movies, and I think kind of like also what Mikey said. Probably something you'd watch, later down the line, but not something you'd watch like all the time. I think it's
it's a little. I mean, unless you're really into the intense shit, like there are some people that really like if I don't see blood every 5 seconds, I'm not watching this. Yeah. But yeah, I agree. What about you, Nabil?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't like the experience at all, but like not my kind of movie. But I
assumed.
Yeah, I will go back to saying that I would not mind seeing Art the Clown handled by another director. Have Damien Leone give some influence, and we can even keep some of the gore if that's true to the character. But I think we had a different writer on here and some better editing, like you said, James. We could probably have ourselves like another iconic horror thing that could be way more mainstream, and that might happen as he's getting more money on this stuff. So I will say though, as far as the films are concerned, this most recent one and the second one were the most enjoyable to me of them. And if you are going to try to watch them, I think those are really the only two you need to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, truthfully, you could just jump from the 2 to 3. Yeah. Overall, it was okay for me. I think, like you said, I think 2 and 3 are the highlights of them all. I don't quite think Art the Clown is quote unquote mainstream yet, even though it's making a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, but in my eyes, he is still like a B horror film kind of villain, like kind of some of those like off ones. Like I don't know.
Well, I think the appeal is really just there really hasn't been something like this before. Yeah. So everybody's kind of just jumping into it, and they don't mind that it's lower budget.
I disagree. I think there's a lot of B movie people that are somewhat similar to it.
I think it's just that he encompasses so many previous slasher.
There's a lot of inspiration, a lot of homage to
things.
Yeah,
he embodies that, and for that, I think he is sort of like a cult classic icon, or at least
it's leaning. For me, it's leaning. Yeah, it's leaning into it, especially with the success of it. Yeah. Speaking of which, Nabil probably know then. Obviously, not a fan.
No.
Of it, but Marco and Mikey, would you guys say that you become fans of this? Like or is it leaning toward that? Or
yeah, I would definitely watch another film if they made a fourth one. I would.
They are
probably
making
go
a fourth one, so So you are looking forward to Terrifier 4.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see where it progresses, especially since every movie's gotten better.
Yeah,
I can't wait till he's got bigger budgets, maybe better people to act in it. I think where he's taking it is a good outlook.
The next one has Brad Pitt. You're like, what the fuck?
That's I think so too. Echoing what Mikey said, I think that the shock factor of these movies, I think, are a drawing point, and of course, Art the Clown is, he's still memorable after watching these movies. So that draws interest, and I'd say I'm a fan. I'm not like a diehard fan, but yeah, I would watch these again, and when Terrifier 4 comes out, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in the same boat. I wouldn't say I'm a fan, but I'm intrigued by it all, and I am. I don't think anybody else is going to handle it, though, Nabil. I think it's Damien Alone have to do these. It's his baby, but I would love to see what this movie looks like with a $50 million budget.
Yeah,
like how good could this look? Like good lighting, and nice.
Tighter with $20 million, dude, would be
cinematography would be cool.
Tighter one time would be nicer too.
Yeah, hour 45. Make it really intense. Make it not look like an indie film. But I know that's the way a lot of people like it. And I'm not saying that's wrong, but I'm just the type where I would love to see what it looks like polished.
Yeah,
that's all. All right, with that, guys, that is the end of the podcast. We appreciate you all for tuning in. Marco, let them know how they can reach us.
You can listen and follow us on your preferred podcast platform. We are everywhere. For a convenient link to all our social media channels, visit linktree/moviepalspod. That's linktr.ee/moviepalspod. And remember, smash or slash that subscribe button, and you'll never miss an episode in this marathon or the next.
Plus, catch us on TikTok for a sneak peek of upcoming episodes and more exciting movie content. Catch us at Movie Pals Pod.
Make sure to tune in for our next episode, podcast episode number 186, where we will be returning back to the journey into Star Trek with a review of Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country, as well as a review of the latest and maybe last new Venom film, Venom: The Last Dance.
Thank you, Nabil. Until next time, this is James,
Marco,
Nabil,
and Mikey.
Have a great one.